Luckily, I was just guiding you out of the breathing technique, so we could start afresh. And if you could take the support out from underneath you, that would be great. And placing your fingertips behind your back from there. And then leaning a little bit back towards the space between the sit bones and raising your legs. And then swapping the cross of the ankles and placing your legs back down, lifting up tall, but allowing your fingertips to stay behind you and squeezing the shoulder blades again as you lift from your heart, maybe lifting from the chin there as well. Take a deep breath over the front of your body as you inhale. And then as you exhale, lifting yourself back up into sitting, and you might take the opposite hand to the leg that is in front and place that against the knee. Sliding the other hand fingertips behind, lengthen your spine as you inhale, and then start to twist on the exhale. You can choose to close the eyes, and you could also choose to drop the back ear towards the back shoulder, and with that adding a bit of length into the side of the neck. Lifting the head again, turn it to the center, place your hands now out in front of you as you inhale to stay, and then with the exhale, slowly moving forward. Allowing yourself to surrender a bit towards the ground. So we've now opened in the front of our heart center, and here we're opening to the back of the heart. Walking your hands back again, and once more place your fingertips behind you. Lean to the space between the sit bones and lift your feet off the ground. And if you like this round, you could also lift your arms off the floor. Changing once more the cross of the ankles, and then pulling the feet in, landing down, fingertips go back behind, squeeze the shoulder blades close and down your spine, starting to expose and lift through the sternum, and if it feels right, protracting the chin and guiding that up towards the ceiling, taking a deep full breath in and out, and then slowly releasing the shape. It's the opposite hand to the front leg that reaches for the knee. The other hand, fingertips are sliding behind and inhaling, sitting up really straight. And then as you exhaling, go into your twist. And perhaps leaning the back ear to the back shoulder, creating a bit more space in this side of the neck. As you lift your head again, turn it towards the front, let the hands land at the front as well, and inhale as you sit, and exhaling as you're walking your hands forward, trying to surrender down, opening through the back of the heart, letting go of the head, and just resting here. If it feels good from there to just roll over the ankles, please do that to come up onto all fours. Otherwise, do that similarly to me, as you might bring your feet out to one side and then set up towards all fours. Now, if you do have a block, please place that down right in front of you. We will place the elbows onto the block and touch the palms of the hands together. If you don't use a block, please place the elbows to the floor instead. Lifting your hips up, right over your knees, and then lowering the head down and bending the elbows so that prayer position that you have starts to rest behind your head. And then allow your chest to sink towards the ground. A variation of Tadasana, or heart opening pose. As if your heart could melt towards the floor. Extending again that invitation to self of inviting in unconditional love, kindness and compassion, while the heart keeps opening. Your eyes, however, might be closed, allowing a few more breaths just to surrender there. To release, you can slide your hips back, release the arms down onto the mat, push the block or support out of the way, and surrender just briefly towards a child's pose. On the inhale, then come up onto all fours, tucking the toes under. You all know, but I still mention that all fours is perfectly fine to play with if you don't like a downward dog, which is where I'd ask you to go otherwise. And once you're in it, just walking out to the legs as we often do at the beginning, getting a feeling for your mobility and how the body feels in motion, and getting a bit of a twist into the hips and with that into the spine. And then walking your feet all the way towards the top end of your mat. Waterfall movement, so outer edges of the feet are aligned with those of the mat. Sliding the hands up your shins or to your thighs, press the fingertips in, lengthen your spine. Then soften the knees and breathe out to fold. So on the inhale, extending. On the exhale, softening forward. Keep that flowing for another 3 breaths. Half lift on the inhale. And on the exhale, surrender. Let the water fall down. Couple more, your pace, your time. And after you've completed all of your rounds, and please do not rush, just simply staying in a standing forward bend. The knees can remain soft, so the spine is at ease and just lengthening downwards. And from here, switching on the lower abdominal muscles and exhaling to roll up into standing, keeping your feet aligned. And as you rise to stand, let's bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades back and down the spine, and you can lift through the heart and lightly through your gaze. Take a deep breath in. And then bend your knees rather deeply. Touch the backs of the hands together as you're diving down towards the ground. And on the inhale, lengthen your spine again for a half. And as you breathe out now, stepping your right foot back into a lunge. On the inhale, soften the knee and lower your nose to the front knee. As you breathe out, start rolling up into standing. Same arms that we just had. Cactus arms, squeeze the shoulder blades, open your gaze, inhale. And as you exhale, round your back. Bend your knees as you curl and forward. And then repeat that again on the inhale, open. So you don't have to come all the way down towards the ground. It's absolutely sufficient as long as you're moving through the spine, looking down and rounding the back. Let's do 3 more. On the inhale, open your chest. On the exhale, soften and rounding forward. 2 more. Finding your pace here, deep full in breaths, heart opening at the front and at the back. When you completed the last round, open again your heart. And as you then exhale, let your hands land onto the mat and step the foot back for a down dog or forwards. On the in-breath then, create a wave forward into a plank. Maybe place the knees down to the mat. And on your elbows, lower down, keep your elbows nice and close. Coming to rest onto the front of your body, hands stay by the sides, tops of the feet grounded into the mat. On the inhale, waving up for a baby cobra. I'm just holding here for a few breaths, starting to engage more into your back. And if you like, even more, then lift the hands off the floor. Keep grounding through your feet unless this is causing lower back pain. In that case, you might try and lift the feet off the floor to assist. Beautiful. And then relax that all the way down. On the inhale, come back to all fours, either to stay here or to lift the hips up for downward dog. With your next inhale, raise your right leg. Keep the foot in a flexion so hips stay aligned. And as you breathe out, draw your knee into your chest, hold it here. Not only lift your knee up, but tuck your foot up towards the body as well. Really deep core activation. And then aim with your right foot between your hands. As you lengthen the spine and the leg, you breathe in. And with the exhale, stepping into a standing forward bend. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Stay here, inhaling and rolling back up into standing slowly on the exhale. Let your arms open again, your heart open, your sternum lift. And as you exhale, bend your knees again, backs of the hands are touching as you're diving forward one more time. And on the inhale, lengthen the spine forward. On the exhale, stepping your left foot back into a lunge. Breathe in, collapse the lunge, nose to the front knee. On your elbows, start rolling up into standing. Returning to the cactus arms as you lift your heart space, maybe your gaze. And with the elbows, roll the shoulders forward, tuck the backs of the hands together around your spine. And then keep going like this, inhaling, opening the front. Exhaling, opening the back of your heart. 3 more rounds, finding your breathing pattern and linking the movement to this pattern of breath. Now, as much as I would like to say that I've counted for you, I didn't. So I hope you did have your own count. And once you've completed your rounds, come back to the heart opening at the front with your cactus arms, with a lifted gaze. And then as you're exhaling, rounding all the way forward, hands to the mat and stepping back for downward dog. As you inhale, roll the spine forward into your plank or kneeling plank. On your elbows, lower down onto the mat. On the inhale, find your back bend, the cobra or an upward facing dog. And take a breath or two to return into down dog or full stance. Once you reach here, we're just taking a deep inhalation and a sigh out to relax. And on the next inhale, lifting your left leg up, flexing the foot. On the out breath, draw your knee into your chest. Tuck it up to the chest and lift the foot up towards your body. And then aiming with the foot between the hands. Help it there if it's not getting there. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in and stretch out into the back leg. And with the exhale, step into standing forward there. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, stay. Lower belly on. Breathing out, rolling up into standing. We're still going with the same arm movement. As you inhale, lift your heart, open the front of your heart. Then bend your knees, backs of the hands touching as we lift forward again, rounding towards the front. And on the inhale, take a half loop. And on the exhale, step your right foot back and lower the right knee down onto the mat. Bring in a bit of cushioning if you need that underneath the knees. Just lengthen that over your mat. As you inhale, lower your nose towards the front. And on the out breath, curl yourself up. On the inhale, open the arms out. And let your right arm then cross underneath the left. You can hug your shoulders or you can bring the palms of the hands together. Let your shoulders soften down. Your elbows moving a tiny bit away from you. Just creating again space in your back. If this feels this is enough for you, please stay here with your knee on the ground. Otherwise, use the feet on the mat and lift yourself up for a high lunge. If you choose the high lunge, please keep the back knee in a bend. And here's an option for all, raising the elbows. Again, here the same, lifting through the sternum, trying to open the front of the body without compressing too much into the back of the disc. On your next inhale, extend your arms up. And on the out breath, bringing your hands down. Stepping the foot back into downward facing dog. I will let you go through your flows if you like to flow. Otherwise, you can also choose to rest in down dog or in a puppy. But if you're flowing, just come forward to plank or kneeling plank. Exhale to lower on or toward the mat. Breathing in for cobra or upward dog. And maybe there's one breath, maybe there's two or three. As you come back to fours or down dog. Take a deep breath in. Have a sigh out. Then raise your right leg as you inhale in. On the exhale, place your foot forward between the hands. However you get it there is up to you. Take your time. And as you're next inhaling, collapse your whole lunge. While you're breathing out, rolling up. As you inhale, open your heart with cactus arms. And on the out breath, round your back forward, hands to the floor. Inhaling, step to the front, half lift. Exhaling, bending again. Wait here. Out breath there, supported with lower belly muscles to roll up. Our last round like this, as you inhale, open your heart, lift your chest, bend your knees, and as you exhale, round your back down to the floor. On the inhale, take a half lift. On the exhale, step your left foot back and lower the left knee down to the mat. You can keep your toes tucked under. And while you inhale, lower your nose towards the front knee. On the out breath, rounding up. On the in breath, open your arms wide and cross your left arm underneath the right as you exhale, either for a shoulder embrace or to touch the palms. Let the shoulders soften and lift the elbows slightly forward and up. Keeping that sense here, and if you would like to choose to raise yourself, pushing the floor away as you come into standing lunge. An option for all the same, we're lifting through the elbows a lot, but also the sternum rises, so we're extending through the back of the spine and even more so through the front. Let's inhale and stretch the arms up to the ceiling. On the out breath, land your hands down and back to downward facing dog. Here's another vinyasa for you if you choose it. Otherwise, please take a rest. It's always about you, never about what I have to teach. an exploration of yourself as you might choose to move or pause. And you reach your all fours or downward facing dog again. A deep breath in, a soft sigh out. Lifting your left leg on the in-breath. Flex the foot, align yourself. And on the out-breath, stepping or helping your foot between your hands. As you inhale, collapse the lunge. With the out-breath rounding up into standing. Your cactus, heart opening movement on the in-breath. And we're diving forward on the out-breath. Step the foot to the front as you inhale for a half lift. And breathe out into standing forward bend. Please weight here again for the exhalation. Use your lower abs and roll up to stand. This time just to lift your shoulders up and then roll them back and down as you come to stand at the front of your mat in Tadasana or mountain pose. And let's all notice how much we want to do this. Wiggle around, adjust our clothing, fix up our hair, have a jiggle, and then come into stillness of a stand. There's so much that we perceive as imperfect after we've moved and we're standing back up. Nothing much has changed though, but maybe how you're feeling inside of your body has. So let's lift all of our toes off the ground for a while. Engaging more deeply into the feet, into the legs, and keeping that engagement but softening your toes back down to the ground. Vrikshasana or the tree, shifting the weight towards your left foot. Raise your right knee and turn it outwards. Choice, heel against the ankle, top of the foot. Your foot against the lower leg. Or taking your foot up to the inner thigh. If it rests there, press the inner thigh into the foot, holding it here. As you have figured out, we haven't lifted the arms fully for most of the practice, so let's not start with that now either. Getting your cactus arms out, squeeze the shoulder blades lightly down the spine, like Jhana Mudra on each hand, index and thumb together. As you hold here, breathe in. And on the exhale, start carefully twisting towards your knee. Holding a tree with a twist. On your next inhale, turn back towards the front, do not fall out of your balance. And then extending into a star as you point out your toes, stretch into your arms and into your fingers. And let's swirl this one around. So the legs extending to the back, the arms out like an aeroplane. And then land your foot down and land your knee down onto the mat. This time even untuck your toes. Sliding your hands a little bit back. And lifting up onto the heel of the front foot. And let that foot slide out a bit towards the front end of your mat. Flointing the foot, as someone pointed out. This is between flexing and pointing. My usual term is stiletto asana as you press out through the ball of the foot. Lengthen the spine as you inhale a bit more. And then start leaning towards your extended leg there at the front. Relax the head down towards the knee. If your hands can rest on the floor, you can have them here. More important is that the foot stays in this position, so engaging all around the leg. A few deeper breaths here for Ardha Hanumanasana. With your next inhale, bend into the front knee and land the sole of the front foot again onto the ground. Place your hands upon your thigh and lift up through the upper body. As we come to stand here on the knee and the foot, raising the right arm on the in-breath, and then circle that arm behind. You can reach for the heel or you can place the palm into the lower back. Keep your body facing towards the front though, and start to lift again from your sternum. If your neck is feeling tired, you can keep the chin tucked in. Otherwise, bring it forward and carefully guide the head back. So even the cervical spine stays long and open. Half camel, Ardha Ustrasana. As you slowly release and come back up, I will ask you to place your right forearm. I've changed sides now. We did step the right foot back, didn't we? So yes, the right forearm down onto the thigh. And place your left hand fingertips onto the floor. Tuck the toes under, lift the knee and ground your heel. So starting to open the hips out. Forearm rests on the thigh. And as you take your inhale, let's roll the right shoulder back. If that feels good, extend the right arm. Otherwise, you can keep it in the side of the waist. Now let's take a look down. Is your forearm in the middle of the thigh or closer to your knee? Can you slide it back? And then press down the forearm into the thigh bone and a bit forward towards the knee, noticing how we're switching our lower muscles on here. Keep your shoulder open. For those of you who want to deepen this expression, swing the arm down in front and then extend the arm over the head. Utthita Parshvakonasana, the extended side angle pose. Let's all ground down to the outer edge of our back foot. And really finding a line from there to the hip or even to the fingertips forward. One more breath. And then release. Your hands framing the foot. Lift your heel. Stepping your foot back for a downward facing dog. It's only a choice to engage into another vinyasa flow. If you find this is not suitable for you, you can start walking your feet towards the front end of the mat. And you might prefer forward fold instead. Otherwise, we're finishing our flows. And as usual, they're moving slowly. So there's time to breathe and time to adjust for your personal needs. Taking your time as you take small steps towards the front end of the mat. Half lift on your in-breath. Deep forward fold and out breaths. Inhaling here. And taking time again to roll up slowly with a bit of lower abdominal support. Lift the shoulders as you inhale. And shrug them back and down, returning into the mountain, the palms of the hands again facing forward. You might have all of your shuffles, readjustments. And maybe now there's a little smile towards yourselves as you acknowledge all of your habits. Engage deeply through the feet. If you like to lift your toes again, it's always a fast way of approaching that engagement. But do land the toes back down. Keeping that engagement right up to the crown of the head. Shifting the weight lightly to the right. Bending and lifting to the left knee and turning that open. Same choices. Foot can rest anywhere. If you're choosing to place the foot to the inner thigh, there is that pressure between the thigh and the foot that actually hopefully keeps it in place. When you found your balance, returning to our heart open cactus arms, and index and thumbs can touch together again. Light squeeze of the shoulder blades back. And with a very slow motion on the next out breath, start to turn towards your bent knee. into a twist. Hold your tree with the twist. Turn yourself back towards the front. Once you reach there, extend the body into a star, point your toes away, stretch your arms and out your fingers. And then swirl that towards an aeroplane. Landing your toes down, hands down, and the knee down, and untucking the toes. Taking the foot onto the heel at the front. Maybe sliding the heel out a bit. As you encourage the Tadasana, it's the ball of the foot that presses forward. We're inhaling, and on the exhale, then lower your nose towards the knee. If your hands reach fully to the ground, rest them down. This is a stretch into the front leg mainly. And you're always welcome to play around with what I'm saying, especially the detail of the letter Asana, pointing and flexing through the foot. So making your choices while you breathe and fold. Extension into the leg, release into forward folding. Then land the foot onto the ground and bend your front knee, placing your hands to the top of the thigh, raising the upper body. As we stand now on knee and foot, breathe in to lift your left arm. Circle that arm behind your back and either reach for the heel or place the palm flat into the lower back, keeping your pelvis forward. Start to lift again through the sternum. Chin can be tucked in for those with the sore neck. Otherwise, push the shin forward and start to lift from the front of the neck. Right up to the sternum, reaching towards the ceiling for a camel in a half version. Couple more breaths in the camel. I've lost it again. Let's lift the upper body up and placing the forearm here onto the middle of the thigh. I'm avoiding left and right now. Let's reach the other hand fingertips to the floor. Tuck the back toes under. Lift the knee off the ground and then ground shift heel down, allowing your hips to already open towards the long side of the mat. And as you inhale, lifting your left shoulder, and if that feels right, arm can extend. Otherwise, you can keep your arm resting here in the side of the body. Making sure that the forearm is in the middle of the thigh and actively pressing into the thigh bone and forward towards the knee without really moving the arm, just engaging into deeper strength around your torso. If you want more extension, swing the upper arm in front and then let your arm extend over the head, and we'll all encourage some weight into the outer edge of the back foot. Getting deep length through the back leg, into the hip, maybe all the way forward to the fingertips if your arm is resting there. Last breath in this shape. Before you roll your arm and shoulder down, placing your fingertips down, lifting the heel into a lunge and stepping back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Very last offering of a flow. So if you don't want to flow, take a resting pose. Otherwise, flowing with your own breath. I'm still demonstrating just in case you're getting lost. As we meet again in downward facing dog or forward stance, take time to inhale through the nose. Maybe even let your tongue stick out as you breathe out. Feeling the jaw a little bit more relaxed. Let's inhale and raise our leg and just sliding the knee forward and letting the other leg come out in front as well into seated form. So from our seated form, let's bend the knees and come to sit between the sit bones again. So I thought before we are stuffing the turkey or ourselves, not promoting meat eating at all. You could stuff whatever vegan thing we can stuff as well. But before we indulge too much, let's strengthen a little bit more into the abdominal area, and with that helping our digestive system. So I do recommend to keep practicing over the holidays, as you might lift your heels now off the ground. You could also choose to lift your feet off the floor, keeping the knees bent, and let's twist our knees towards the right option, extending the legs, bending the knees again, center them, lengthen your back, and then twisting the knees to the other side. Not important if your feet are on off the mat. Maybe extending the legs out. Bending the knees again, lift the knees up to the center, let your legs slide back out in front. Take your block or other light books, and you can place that on the mat in that long form, flat or halfway up, depending on where you're at with your back bending. We will use this block for a fish. So while you sit with your back facing it, lower down roughly at the height of your brow line. Let your spine surrender along the block, and maybe carefully allowing the head to rest towards the floor. If this is too much, please bring a cushion underneath the head. No need to leave the head this low if your neck is not happy with that, or maybe your blood pressure isn't. Leaving the arms out wide so we can keep opening to the heart. And if your block is flat like mine, you will feel a gentle squeeze of the shoulder blades to the longer side of the block. If you're resting higher, the whole experience will be more intense. And especially for those resting on a higher block, I suggest to keep the legs engaged, bringing them together and letting your toes point forwards. Take a couple more breaths just to be here. Feeling the flow over the streamline of the body. Peaking right at heart center. You've just engaged the legs, relaxed them now. Slide your arms in, bend the palms down. Stepping potentially your feet lightly down and sliding your hands gently underneath the body, tucking the elbows into your sides. Bring your chin in first so you can lift your head, come up onto the forearms, removing the block from underneath, place it by the side of your mat and lower back down onto the floor. Stepping your feet now down onto the mat, keeping your feet at about hip distance. Tiptoe them up towards the buttocks and plant them down by the landing, keeping the arms down by the side, but still need our block. As you inhale now, tilt your pelvis, and then squeeze your buttocks as you breathe out and lift your hips up into a bridge. Same offering of height of block, flat under the sacrum or halfway up. As you slide your block underneath, just making sure that the vertebrae that are melted together are hanging down towards the floor, are free of any pressure. If this feels all right, you can open the arms slightly, slide the shoulder blades under, and allow yourself to be here for a breath. It is the hips that are lifted at this very moment. We might get a little bit of flow down towards the feet. We might have an experience of pressure changing in the head. Please do feel free to come out of any of the shapes if they're unsuitable for you. But if you would like to go a bit deeper, lift the first knee, then the second knee to the chest. If you're not as stable on your block as I am, please take a hold of this block. I want you to fall to ground. And you could from there softly extend your legs towards the ceiling. It is safe to turn the heads, but it is not necessary. As the weight rests upon the shoulders here, depending on how high your block is. And you could choose to move a bit through the feet and toes, the ankles. Maybe also gently through the knees. And then find stillness in the legs. And if they feel it's challenging to hold them there, soften the knees just lightly towards the chest, keeping your feet the highest point. Let your breath very gently flow. No disconnection here, just awareness. Maybe there's a heaviness around the pelvis. Maybe there's a heaviness around the shoulders. But all these parts also supporting you and holding you up. Let your knees soften back in towards the chest. If you need to keep a hold of the block, that's fine. Landing one foot down gently. And then the other foot steps down as well. Realign your feet, please, so hip distance apart, toes forward. Ground actively through the feet. Start to lift your buttocks off the block. Slide the block out from underneath. And then carefully rolling down, taking your time, as if it was a slowness competition where you're lowering each vertebra down onto the mat at a time. You can have multiple breaths to do so, just aiming to control that movement. Suggestion from here, wiggle the feet to mat distance and let the knees drop in for a moment of constructive resting pose. The arms can soften again. Use them, palms might start turning up once more. If you feel this is sufficient, either stay or come into full Shavasana. If you want a last movement, separate your knees and let the knees sway from side to side, doing the lower back, gentle massage, allowing a bit of hip rotation. I'm hoping that this is exactly what you needed to find ease. And you can then either return to the constructive rest for relaxation, or you can slide your legs out. If you've got a bolster, you can press that under the knees. But let the legs roll out. Ideally let the arms open. Align your nose with your navel. And feel as if your spine is as much in neutral as it can be, including the neck. Find your stillness now, tapping into that space deep inside of you, where you can access the heart space again. You can feel that there's a subtle movement around that area because of the lungs moving and breathing. You might also visualize your energetic heart center. As you can focus on that, you might choose to imagine a light green color, this color into light, right in the center of the chest. And as you continue to rest here, you can visualize this green light expanding and filling your body with unconditional love, kindness, and compassion. You stay with green light, or you can keep it resting there while you might listen to a poem that's called Surely This Is Love. I am intimately connected with all that is. When you water your roots, my heart blossoms. When I see you smile, that's when I know I'm fully alive. As you are able to live in truth, I raise the roof on this house I am exploring. I throw the doors wide, let the breeze blow in the windows. When you grow, I know it as my own opening. You stretch, I breathe. I give, and you receive. Just beneath the fabric of our lives, oiled, ready to spring, or budding like a rose, reaching out to embrace, or sitting, bath in grace and stillness. This singing, circling, radiant one with everything. Surely this is love. If your mind has wandered, bring it back to your heart center, reconnecting to that center of unconditional love. And even taking your green light with you to deepen your breath very gently. Starting to reach out into the fingers and toes. Maybe moving a bit more, even having stretch. Take yourself from there, either over the front of the body or with bent knees to your side. Join me in a seated position. You can touch the hands together thumb lightly towards the sternum, lifting the heart into the hands, keeping yourself upright until we finish our practice with the Om. To synchronize the breath out together. Inhaling for the Om. Slightly bow to each other, extending kindness and compassion. Namaste.